Welcome, maybe welcome back to the wood shop. That's right, we're back in the shop. Yeah! We're gonna build some shit. Today we're gonna build this thing. Okay, let's get to it.
Hello, and welcome back to a woodworking video from my channel. You guys have to realize. So this is kind of a video that I would normally put on my gardening channel, Homegrown Haven, but I'm going to put it on the regular channel to make up for a bit of lost revenue. Having a new baby sets you back a bit. But I should probably explain what this is. So this is a piano cover, and what that is, it's basically a desk extension. It's going to sit on top of my desk that will cover the keyboard, my Yamaha that I've got here. I'm pretty much building this because the place where the piano was before was kind of in the danger zone as far as the kids are concerned. My toddler was pulling on it and shoving things, and you just don't want to know. So ever since the pandemic, coronavirus, the price of lumber has skyrocketed. It is just ridiculous how much a single stud is these days. So I don't really buy lumber like I used to. In fact, I don't think I've been to buy lumber in a few years now. Maybe that's just because I'm so poor, but most of the time whenever I get lumber, I'm scouting for pallets. You'll see this wood that I'm using right here is actually pallet wood. It's just a really nice pallet. This was a pallet that came from my bank. I was just going through the ATM one day and I saw him back there, and I was like, "Hey, you know anything about these pallets?" And the lady was like, "I know you can have them." A lot of people think that you can't really do much with pallet wood because it's really thin pieces of wood. Sometimes they're contaminated or damaged. You know, a lot of pallets are made for different reasons, you know. Even the cheapest of pallet is going to have 3 basic components to it. For the most part, you're going to have planks on top, but then you've got what's holding up those planks, and that's generally going to be wooden blocks or beams. Of course, you can use the planks for stuff, but those cross beams are pretty useful. They're much more structurally stable. So here I'm searching for boards that don't have twist in them. So I'm basically just searching for 2 boards that are the most alike. And I'll try to pick ones that look nice. And when I say that, I mean boards that have some knots and little inconsistencies in them. As long as they don't affect the structural stability, it always comes out looking pretty nice. So I actually end up finding 2 boards that are bending a little bit opposite from one another. So the plan is to push the board down and glue it and clamp it into place and just sort of let the glue hold it. In professional woodworking, sometimes they will use what's called a biscuit joiner, which is where they make little wooden circles that go in between planks, and it just helps to keep them together. But I don't have one of those, so I'm not doing that. I have my own method of gluing plywood sheets along the bottom, and that just keeps everything from moving around. It's kind of like putting big flypaper pads on it. And these legs that I'm working with, that was actually an old project that I had. I think it was like a phone holder, like a bedside phone holder. It had a stud in it, and I saved it all these years because I was like, this is good wood. Here it is, being used back on my desk again, years later. Yeah, I think it's pretty important to save almost every piece of lumber. I mean, tiny little pieces you can throw it, but even the smallest piece, you never know when you're going to use it again or need something. I know that sounds like hoarder behavior, but it's really just a matter of staying organized. So the way these legs are going to attach, I'm basically just going to put some glue on them and then use some screws. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm applying glue directly to the end grain of wood, and that doesn't take glue very well. It does kind of, but not as good as you would want. So that's why I'm doing glue and screws. And the way that I've got those legs set up, it's basically to allow cords to pass through. So here we made it to day 2, and I'm starting on routing. I glued everything together and drilled holes for the legs, and then I drilled out those holes for the screw heads, but I didn't film that because I'm an idiot. Yeah, that gluing process took pretty much all my clamps over there on the wall. I just wanted to use as many as possible to get everything set as much as I could, you know. But here I am using this big router now. I was surprised at the size of that router. This is actually the first time I took the router out of the routing table, and holy crap, that thing's big. It's really heavy too. I didn't expect it to be that heavy. But yeah, this was one of my bigger projects that I've worked on, so I couldn't really take it and run it on the router table, so I had to detach the router and use it that way. I just put that basic bevel on it, just that single bevel. I guess I'm more of a fan of just angled geometric designs, somewhat geometric. I like that. When it comes to sanding, I believe in two forms, and that is rough and fine. When it comes to something like a table, in my opinion, it really doesn't matter that much. You're not going to feel much of a difference between fine and super fine. Unless you're trying to polish something to like diamond consistency and make it really shiny, then just some basic sanding will do. Sometimes Lily gets mad at me for changing my workspace, my desk around too often, but I feel it's pretty important to adjust and update your workspace based on your workflow. And I think that changes and evolves for all of us differently over time. And we should try to work with it, as opposed to turning ourselves into tools. That's just me. Yeah, this project turned out looking really good. It's a great weekend project if you happen to have a keyboard that needs to go on a desk. I guess it's pretty specific. But hey, I hope you learned something about woodworking, if nothing else. I know this kind of video format is not my normal thing, and if you're still here, I just want to thank you for watching. But, you know, if you want to find more stuff like this, you can find it on my gardening channel, Homegrown Haven, where that's what we do. I just try to make more relaxing content on there. Again, I just want to thank everyone for sticking with me through these pretty hard times, honestly. You know, it's been very rewarding, but it's been tough. Anyway, this has been a woodworking video on, you guys have to realize, pretty rare gem. I hope you liked it. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Introducing the ultimate stay-in-your-home solutions design while providing safe and reliable means of transportation. Say goodbye to the